Hey-oh, yeah. And we're here with Steeler fan extraordinaire, Kyle Shantz. How you doing?
I am doing marvelous, Spenser. It is great to be back.
You ready for this week?
I am. I'm fired up for this week.
It's a lot of good games. The NFL's starting to treat us in these final weeks after the shit they put us through earlier this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of close ones coming up, a lot of good matchups. This pick sheet's going to be a hard one. And you know what? Thursday night football finally panned out to be a great game. Color rush, jerseys looking fly, Vikings on fleek. And it was not a bullshit game like most Thursday nights have been. I loved it.
It was great. And speaking of that Thursday night and the picks, the pool, my friend, it is up in the air. KP Riley, the leader, did not get his picks in, and you only get one auto pick, so he's getting 0 points this week.
Ooh.
On top of that,
Painful.
Everyone in the top 10, except for one person, took Dallas and took them large.
That backdoor cover at the end there really snaked everybody. So you texted me before the game, and you said that you were taking Minnesota because you had some ground to cover. And I told you it's a bold move.
Fortune favors the
bold. I'm
bold.
watching the last minute of the game, and all I can think about is you just sitting in front of the TV super close, rubbing your hands together like just yes, watching dink and dunk and dink and dunk up the field.
You know, that's the thing about the sheet people need to remember. Obviously, picking winners is number one, but then it's the allocation of the points. And me, being in 40th place, I got to make some moves. I knew everyone would go Dallas. How could you not? And that was one of the few on the sheet I said, I could see Minnesota covering here. I could see it getting a little sloppy. And it did. And they covered. And the whole time I was rooting against that 2-point conversion, and I was happy they didn't call that. If that was Tom Brady, every flag would have been on the field. But it wasn't. Vikings cover. Dallas got a nice win. I must say, the special teams coach was promoted to be the interim coach, and their special teams probably lost them the game. The punter was terrible. They fumbled on a punt return to give Dallas an easy score when their defense was playing great. It's kind of the story of the Vikings all year.
That's what you get when you don't have Cordero Patterson handling the ball on every single special teams play. You know what? Without Adrian Peterson, that man needs to touch the ball probably every play on offense, too. He's the most explosive, dynamic player that the Vikings have to offer out there. Get that man the ball.
The Vikings, to me, are the most depressing team in the NFL because a team like the Niners or Browns, there's no hope. So we're not even going to pretend. The Vikings not only started 5-0, they have a defense that's near Broncos level of last year. Sam Bradford's been actually playing fine, but the offensive line is so bad, despite having weapons, they just cannot do anything. And it's like a waste of a great dominating defense. And they played a hell of a game against Dallas.
It is horrible. And you look at their offense, and their running backs, you know what? Adrian Peterson's hurt. And Asiata, he does his hardest. He tries his best. Not that great. But you look at their wide receivers, Diggs, Patterson, even Thielen, who fumbled, he's a good possession receiver. And Rudolph at tight end. Those are badass fucking guys to throw the ball to.
Yeah.
So that O-line can't even block for Bradford to get them the ball. That's why he checks down every single play.
What if I told you you'll miss 100% of the checkdowns you don't take?
So true.
And that's the funny thing with Bradford is he's been like that in Philly, and he's sort of through his career. But this is the first year I don't blame him. He doesn't have a choice. I actually think Bradford's playing well given his circumstances, and probably every bit as well as Bridgewater would, because Bridgewater looked great as a rookie, and last year was pretty bad because their offensive line was just getting him killed, and they did nothing to address that.
Yeah, and Bradford did put one downfield, and the motherfucker drops it.
Yeah.
You don't get many of those. You don't get many balls that fly over 30 yards. You got to catch them. Help a man out. You know what? It's okay because Dallas moves to 11-1 now, and Dallas is making football great again. People are loving the fact that America's team is back being America's team again instead of being the NFL's doormat like they have been the past few seasons.
It is refreshing that they're being talked about when they're good. I was just so tired of hearing about the Cowboys nonstop on ESPN when they were middling 8-8 team. And I'm looking forward to them losing in the playoffs so I can drink up the tears of all the Cowboys fans and give me sustenance through the offseason.
Yes, your sweet, salty tears.
So heading into this week, you got any storylines before we get into our picks? Anything that's jumping out at you?
I do. So with all the injuries in the NFL this season, every team's talking about their next man up philosophy. So-and-so went down, but it's that next man up philosophy, so every guy's got to step up. One of the biggest injuries in the NFL right now, Gronkowski, out for the season with getting back surgery. But the real story out of New England, brace yourself, folks. One Gronk out, next Gronk in.
Ooh.
New England signs Glenn Gronkowski, fullback / tight end, to their practice squad. I'm saying party like a Gronk star. Get this guy on the field. Huge.
That is huge. The Gronk injury is changing the AFC. I know Martellus Bennett's a damn fine backup, as good as you could ask for Gronk.
Start for almost every other team.
Yeah, but it's just not the same. I think the AFC's wide open, which is the reason I peppered in a little Steelers Super Bowl champion future bet, 14-1.
I love it.
I had to take it.
That's good. Who else to get that big ring than Big Ben, you know? That argument's going up right now. Everyone's talking about who's the best quarterback out of that draft class. Is it Big Ben? Is it Eli? Is it Phillip Rivers? If Big Ben gets that third ring, he goes down as the greatest QB out of that draft class.
Yes. My opinion is they're all great. Not quite equal, but closer than people think. I think if Phillip Rivers were to play in New York or Pittsburgh, he's probably got a ring. All three of them are fantastic. I got an interesting little factoid tidbit going into the week that I had to share. There are currently 3 quarterbacks in the NFL that have started 2 games or more that have more interceptions than touchdowns. All of them have played for the Texans.
Well, obviously, Brock Osweiler.
Yes.
Case Keenum.
Yes.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Nailed it. How depressing is that?
Ding, 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 ding.
That is just depressing.
Please don't tell me that I won one of their jerseys as a gift for answering those questions right.
I wouldn't do that to you, my friend. And if I were to get you one of their jerseys, it would be a college one. You know, a Harvard Fitzpatrick, an ASU Brock, or a Houston Cougs Keenum.
Ooh, the Coug Keenum I could roll with. I could roll with that.
You could rock a Coug Keenum. Another interesting tidbit is you're starting to get the talk of Darrelle Revis. He's been saying his body's broken down. His little inner circle has been saying he doesn't necessarily want to play anymore. And now the Jets owner is quoted by a source as saying he feels betrayed by Revis this year. I say more power to him. He got his ring. He got another payday. What's he got left to prove?
He feels betrayed? Why don't you suit up and get out there, you fucking suit? Yeah, you pay the guy to play football. And guess what? Over the past 10 years, he's been one of the best there is out there. But guess what? He's getting old. You're the ones who signed him to the big contract. You're the ones who got him back from all the other teams that used him up. And now you're going to say you feel betrayed?
I would feel betrayed by you naming Ryan Fitzpatrick the starting quarterback again.
I would feel betrayed looking at any quarterback on that roster.
So do we have any other tidbits going into this week? Ooh, Trevor Siemian. I placed a moneyline Denver bet prior to realizing Trevor Siemian is out. And speaking of that, in the podcast pool, I've officially found out how to change it. We will no longer have our picks lock on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. You will get your Thursday picks in, and then you'll be able to get all your other Sunday picks in until the first Sunday game kicks off, and then it will lock. So no longer are you beholden to getting every pick in on Thursday, which I hate.
You know, that's a big thing, especially with some of these injuries coming out. For ruled out this week, Jordan Reed, Luke Kuechly, Alan Hearns, Chris Ivory. Cutler's done for the season, placed on IR. He's going to be having surgery. But here's 2 of the injuries that are undetermined so far. And if they don't play, this is going to affect your picks. Andrew Luck is still undergoing concussion protocol and is visiting a neurologist today. If he doesn't play, you think Tolzien gets out there and gets you a win? I don't think so.
No.
I actually like any Jets quarterback more than Tolzien.
I do.
Secondly, Aaron Rodgers trying to rehab back that hamstring. He may not play either. They're warming up Hundley, getting him ready to go.
Ooh, Brett Hundley.
And, yeah, Hundley. the UCLA former QB. Nothing special there.
Oh, yeah, that's why he went to that little tent, that little booth they created. Yeah,
what goes on in that booth?
Last Monday night, he went inside like a little tent on the sideline. They built them for when guys have to piss or take their pants off so they don't have to go all the way to the locker room.
So that new tent's kind of like the mystery, you know?
It is.
What's really in there?
Who knows?
Like shooting up needles, hitting lines off the table, you know? Like you walk in, it's just a big mirror on the table, and Aaron Rodgers is using that big nose of his to discount, double-check a couple lines.
If Lawrence Taylor was still playing, we know what would go on in that tent.
Yeah, you'd see Michael Irvin and Lawrence Taylor every rivalry game in there together.
Oh, yeah. Irvin would catch a pass and get knocked out of bounds and just run over to the tent real quick, jump inside, and come back out, firing.
Eyes just blazing.
Oh, so let's jump into the week. We're starting with a great game, a lot of playoff implications. Kansas City traveling to Atlanta. This opened at Atlanta 4. Now it's jumped up to 5.5. And there's no injury news on KC. I'm kind of shocked given their good win. Seems like a lot of points for me. I'm going KC, 5.5.
Really? I'm going to take the number one offense in the NFL. I'm taking Atlanta. Hot Atlanta.
You're going hot Atlanta?
I'm going hot Atlanta.
What's your reasoning there? You don't think KC slows them down a bit, or you just think the Atlanta D shows up?
So KC drops games to teams with high-powered offense. So you look at when they played the Steelers in the beginning of the season, when the Steelers had the number one offense at the time, were averaging 30-something points a game before the injuries and such. They got blown out by the Steelers. And it wasn't because the Steelers' defense at the time was playing lights out. It's that the Kansas City offense is very conservative, and teams with high-powered offenses just outscore them. And I think Atlanta does that.
So you got Atlanta. Okay.
Hot Atlanta.
Next game, another playoff matchup. Miami Dolphins traveling to Baltimore, getting 3.5 points. When I first saw this line, I was leaning a little bit Baltimore. I think their defense will play well against Miami, but then I remembered the Ravens' offense is a dumpster. I'm taking the points here with Miami. I could even see a Miami backdoor cover.
I am also taking Miami. I like what they've been doing lately, and I hate the Ravens. So 2 reasons why I'm taking Miami.
Then we have the Montezuma's revenge game of the week with draft implications. The 1-10 49ers traveling to the 2-9 Chicago Bears. This game opened up at Chicago -3. It is now a pick'em. 49ers and Chicago. 49ers are 3-0 in their last 3 against the spread. I'm taking the Niners because they're my team.
You know what? That's a very biased pick of yours. I've also taken the Niners, and I'm going big on that game. I don't want to admit it on this podcast, but, you know, I feel like I'm in the trust tree, the nest, you know?
You are.
I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. So Cam Newton is my starting quarterback in fantasy.
Same here.
But this matchup is too juicy. And the way he's been playing, I had to pull the trigger. And I am starting Colin Kaepernick.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Not only bold, but smart. Kaepernick is the number 2 quarterback in fantasy in the last 4 weeks, only behind Aaron Rodgers. I like it. We're both on the 49ers. Now to a somewhat meaningless game. The Eagles are still in playoff contention. They're traveling to Cincinnati. Barely. Eagles have to win out and get some luck. Eagles are +1.5 traveling to Cincinnati. I like the Eagles here. In their minds, they're still in it. Cincinnati's out. I don't think they're going to play A.J. Green. Philly's D takes advantage of Dalton, and Philly does enough on offense, even though their offense is pathetic, to win this game.
I really don't have much to say about this game. The Bengals look like shit this season. Philly started hot, now they're blowing goats. But I'm taking Philly in the long run.
The Houston Texans traveling to Green Bay, getting 6.5.
So this one's painful for me because I put my pick in before I realized that Rodgers may not play.
Same.
So I went with Green Bay, whereas if Rodgers does not play, I would take Houston.
Yeah, and I was even considering the Texans here at 6.5, only because I do think they have a good team. Osweiler's been miserable, but the Packers secondary is trash, and you saw against the Raiders, Osweiler at least was okay, and they were able to play him close, but I couldn't. I had to go Packers, and I hope they win. I hope Rodgers plays and they cover because I'm really looking forward to fading them hard the following week when they play Seattle. I still don't think the Packers are a very good team. I think they had a nice win against the Eagles, but I'm going Packers here. If Rodgers is out, obviously take the Texans. If anyone's got inside knowledge, just go take the Texans now before that line changes, because if Rodgers is out, this is probably going to be a 2-point line. And then, so next we have Denver, -3.5, traveling to Gus Bradley, the losingest coach in history, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. When this line came out, it was 4.5. I was all over Denver. It's a must-win for them. Trevor Simeon's out, so now it's down to 3.5. I still like Denver here. Their defense is good enough to make Blake Bortles' day terrible.
Yeah, I got Denver in this one all day. Jacksonville is a dumpster fire. Gus Bradley. I don't know how you're still a coach in the NFL, not to mention when good coaches like Arians and Zimmer are being killed by their team's poor performances. How are you still alive? You're the losingest coach. You should have offed yourself years ago.
How is Mike Shanahan?
I'm taking Denver. That's a no-brainer to me.
Now we have the Los Angeles Rams, 13.5-point dogs in New England. I'm throwing a curveball. I'm taking the Rams.
Yes.
You too are taking the Rams.
I am. I am taking the Rams. I think 13.5 is a lot of points. One thing the Rams do very well is they make football boring. They make it boring for everybody. Even the other team doesn't have fun. Their defense is really good, so the other team's offense doesn't play well. And Rams' offense is so bad that they just kind of soak up the clock doing nothing. But then punt. They got a good punter. He's got a lot of work. Sportscasters have been talking about that punter out there for the Rams, just booming them all year.
Even Belichick talked about the punter. He called him a weapon. Nothing says Showtime Los Angeles like a punter. Yeah, I think they get good inside pressure, which can work against Tom. The other thing about the Patriots, down the stretch, Belichick likes to do things to kind of practice for the playoffs. Doesn't like to show too much. I think they'd be happy to just walk out with a 7 to 10 point win. They have no reason to keep their foot on the gas. And it'll be interesting to see if Brandon Bolden and Danny Woodhead play well, as Jeff Fisher's looking out for.
Oh, God. Jeff Fisher is such a fucking troll. Or he has completely lost his mind and checked out. I got a question for you. You're in L.A. You see this shit firsthand. What is going on with the beef between Fisher and Los Angeles Ram legend Eric Dickerson? What the fuck's going on there?
Dickerson was a little bit critical of the team and the coaching especially. According to him, Fisher just said he's not allowed to be on the sidelines anymore or doesn't want him there. And Dickerson said, I'll up that, and I just won't come to any of the games as long as you're the coach. So he pretty much said he's not going to come to the games for a year.
I see your bet, and I raise you. I won't return to a single game until you're fired.
Yes, and to me, the Rams now could be in trouble. I just saw the Chargers are possibly exercising the option to come to L.A., and Kroenke never wants the Raiders here because they'll immediately take all the fandom. And while the Rams have a fan base here that the Chargers don't have, it's a lot of older fans. You bring the Powder Blues, you bring Joey Brosa, an offense that's exciting to watch. It wouldn't take much for the Chargers to grab a foothold above the Rams in this town.
No, it wouldn't be, because they actually put up points. They play defense. They got some players you can really get behind. Phillip Rivers, love him or hate him, he's got fire on that field, and he's a great family man. Joey Brosa, if you haven't heard an interview by this guy, please look him up.
Brosa,
they are hilarious.
Brosa had more QB pressures in his first 7 games than anyone in NFL history had in 8 games. He's been phenomenal. If this team was in the AFC South, if they were probably in the NFC South, I could name about 5 divisions if they were in, they're a playoff team. We got another great game. Jim Bob Cooter and his Detroit Lions traveling to New Orleans, getting 6 points. This one was interesting for me. It opened up at 4.5 and shot to 6. I think that's way too many points. Maybe Vegas thinks Drew Brees just takes apart the Lions secondary. I think that's too many points for a Saints defense that's miserable. I like the Lions here. Too many points.
I got the Lions on this one big time. Their offense is pretty darn good, especially under the tutelage of the Cooter. And the Saints are a weak team. They're wishy-washy at best. I got Detroit all day.
I'm not shocked if the Lions win this one either. It's plus 220 money line, maybe plus 230. It's up to plus 230 now. Now we have Buffalo still in the playoff hunt, traveling to Oakland plus 3. The beginning of the week, I liked Buffalo here, but I switched. I'm going to Oakland. I think they take advantage of a bad Buffalo secondary and cover and win this.
I'm taking Oakland. They got a great offense. They got no defense. They're 9-2. They're flying high, and I think they got the momentum right now that's going to carry them into that number 1 seed in the AFC.
Ooh, one more question on this game. Do the Raiders win a playoff game?
You know, that's interesting because I think they're going to get a first-round bye.
I agree.
And they could potentially see someone like the Chiefs.
Or the Steelers.
In the second round, teams like that have playoff experience. Also, the Chiefs already beat them once this season. So that'd be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, I think they're the number 1 candidate for the bye team to lose their first game. So now we have Washington Redskins traveling to Arizona. The 4-6 Cardinals are favored in this game. I'm taking Washington, and I feel bad about it. I'm only taking Washington because Cardinals have fucked me enough. I can't bear to take them. I'll gladly lose to them. But to me, this is a dangerous game for the Redskins. They need the win, but they're going against a team that defends the pass very well. I wouldn't be shocked here if the Cardinals won, but I'm going Redskins. Plus 2.5.
You know, Spencer, I hate to correct you, but Arizona's 4-6-1.
Ooh,
they got
you're
a
right.
tie. Just like Washington is 6-4-1. Both these teams have ties, and I'm taking Washington for the win.
Now, another fantastic game. My game of the week. The New York Giants. Plus 6, traveling to Pittsburgh. I'm taking the Giants. I don't feel great about it. This could be an Eli squander game, but it just feels like too many points for me. I assume you're going Steelers.
It's a no-brainer there, Spencer. I got the Steelers on this one all day long.
The battle of the 2004 quarterbacks. We have 4 Super Bowls between these quarterbacks from the illustrious 2004 draft class, which also included Phillip Rivers. But there was one other quarterback taken in the first round that year, J.P. Losman.
Oh, my God.
Right?
That dude was a first-round quarterback?
First-round quarterback.
Oh.
Now we have Clam Dingus and his Bucks. For all those listening who are confused by Clam Dingus, he's a good friend of Kyle's and our resident Bucks fan. And his Bucks are getting 3.5 points traveling to San Diego. This is a hell of a game. I took the Bucks just because I'm going to ride them. My captain.
You know, I talked to Clam Dingus just the other day. He listened to the podcast. He was at the game. He was firing off those cannons on the ship. He's going to this Chargers game as well. No pirate ship for him to ride on, which means Chargers get the win. Clam Dingus, you're out on the street drinking jug wine.
Ugh. Now we got the Sunday night game. Going into the season, this was looking like a great one. Unfortunately, it's not. The Panthers, plus 7, traveling to Seattle. I've been back and forth all week on this. I'm just in the sheet. I took Seattle, so I'm sticking with them. I could see a cover here, but I'm going Seattle, 7 points. I think they do enough with Luke Kuechly out. They win this game and cover.
I got Carolina for a couple reasons. Richard Sherman, you don't get on the podium and call out Cam and reference karma. Cam's going to get fired up. He's going to have some fun. He's going to wear his towel on his head with a smile underneath, and he's going to fucking win. I don't know if he's going to win, but I got Carolina. I got Carolina in the pick.
Nice. And we got the Monday night. Unfortunately, Monday night can't flex out. We've got the Colts.
Yeah, can we revoke them?
I know. We've got the Colts at -1. This was originally a pick 'em, traveling to New York Jets. I'm going Colts. That's assuming Andrew Luck is playing. If he's not, obviously, we'll go Jets. But I like the Colts here. I think they match up well. They can pass on the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick's good for a turnover, too. And despite the Jets playing the Patriots well, which they always do, I think they've given up. They've mailed it in.
I think someone needs to get on the horn with that soulless ginger, Roger Goodell, and revoke the Jets for the second week in a row of being on primetime television. Neither one of these teams are poised for prime time. They are both garbage. And especially if Andrew Luck does not play, what are we going to watch?
You're going to watch a disgusting game.
It's going to be a disgusting game. And I'm taking the Jets, and I'm going to throw out another wager on this one. Darrelle Revis. He's beat down physically. He's getting beat down mentally and verbally. He's getting an interception this game.
Ooh. If Andrew Luck does not play, the NFL should just air Super Bowl III in its entirety in place of this game. Well, that's it for our picks this week. It's going to be a big one. All you people out there, make sure, well, you already got your picks in. Next week, I'll tell you to make sure to get them in before Sunday. KP Riley, our number one, didn't get his picks in. So now there's going to be a new first place person. You're in 12th right now, my man, Kyle.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming back. I might have missed the first week. But guess what, folks? I'm coming for you.
Coming for us.
I'm not coming for you because you're behind me.
Yeah, I'm coming for you.
You know who else is behind me? No bitch-assness. Lockwood, eat dicks. I'm in front of you.
Ooh. You and Lockwood both took San Francisco for 15. Bold.
I know. It's a big one. San Fran better step up. I mean, I got Cap at QB. I got them big in the picks. So it's got to happen.
It's going to be a great week, and we'll be here Monday talking shit about the games, seeing what happened.
Oh, we will. So everybody, listen to the podcast, review it. Have a great weekend. Spencer, always a pleasure.
It's great having you on, my man.
Peace.